Yo! Hello viewers, it's Peter Elgar again here. This time I'm going to attempt a comparison of two of the famous VIVITAR Series 1 telephoto zooms. Yes folks, they're famous. Now I've got two and they're both 70 to 210, but one is PENTAX fitting and the other one is MINOLTA fitting. One is a 2.8 maximum aperture and this one is 3.5. So we're going to show you some features, and I've actually taken some test photographs with them, and hopefully you'll enjoy looking at all those. So this is the PENTAX one I used on my ME Super. We'll take it off the body to make it easier, and I don't want to drop anything, otherwise it will get expensive. And this is the MINOLTA 700. I've done a video about the MINOLTA as well. I did find when I had it on the 60th of a second, I'm going to put the 60th here, this red setting for 60th for flash, one of the frames had a bit missing. So that means the 60th of a second, when I took my flash picture, was running a bit fast. So I've got to watch that now with that MINOLTA. So we're bayonet it off and then we can go through the features. So why are these VIVITAR lenses famous? They are supposed to be very, very sharp. Now the company VIVITAR, I found, is just a name. It doesn't actually make any lenses. They get other manufacturers to make the lenses for them. So we don't know exactly who made these lenses, although they're both marked VIVITAR. They could be made by Comica or Tomioka or some of these other Japanese firms. So we'll look at the 2.8 zoom first. This is the PENTAX K fitting at the back here. Got the aperture little lever here which stops down the lens. We'll take it off and you can see the action. There's the action of stopping down the lens. It goes from 2.8 down to f22, and the f22 is marked A, and you push a button here and you get it on the f22 to the A position, and this means you've got automatic indexing for cameras with program exposure mode. Well, with PENTAX ME Super doesn't have program mode, so I never use it on the A automatic setting. Now I've done some pictures at full aperture and f8 and f16. There's 3 on each, so I will show you those. Now, this one goes from infinity and it goes down to what is known as a macro mode, MR macro ratio, and you turn it, it will automatically give you a close focusing at a 100mm focal length. It sort of locks in position to 100 there. Look, I can't zoom it out anymore. When you go to the MR, the macro range, it automatically sets 100mm, but as you twist and focus, it enables you to get very close. So we've done some close-up pictures as well. Now the zoom action on both of these is push and pull type zoom. The MINOLTA fitting one is 3.5 maximum aperture, and this time you notice the aperture range goes in the opposite direction from the PENTAX one. So there's the maximum aperture there, 2.8, and on the MINOLTA it's over this side. But again, it has a green setting for cameras with a programmed exposure mode. Now the MINOLTA 700 has that, but I didn't use it. I only used it on aperture priority automatic. Now this one also focuses closely, but it doesn't have the same sort of setting as the PENTAX one. It doesn't lock into one specific focal length for the macro mode. You can zoom from 70 to 210, at 1.2 metres away, or 4 feet. Metres is in green and feet is in white. It doesn't lock it into one particular focal length, I've noticed. So there's a difference there. This one came with a free filter. 62 millimetres on both of them. 62 millimetre fitting. Now, because the glass is extremely close to the front, you may get flare. But by chance, I had a 62 millimetre lens hood. And I hadn't used it for years, so I thought, oh, I haven't got a lens that fits. But suddenly, I was given some 62 millimetre fitting lenses. So good job I didn't get rid of that lens hood, because there we are. We now got a 62 millimetre lens hood, which will protect the lens from flare. So I've used that as well. Now, this one, it says in the instruction book, it's got 14 elements in 10 groups. There's loads of glass, so both of them are very heavy lenses, and they're all metal construction, not like some of the later ones. They're all metal. So what is the performance like? We'll have a look at some results now. I've done a series on Oro NP20 film, which is fine grain, and I've done some at infinity. I'm going to put this down at 210 millimetres. So we've zoomed out to 210, and we've done a series here of 3 pictures at different apertures. Now these are prints from scanned negatives, so the colour balance is not perfect. Now this is the one, that's what, 2.8 is on the PENTAX side, and this is on the MINOLTA side. These are the results I got with them zoomed out to 210. Now I noticed that the sharpness does vary. As you get a bit closer, it gets better sharpness. With all these zoom lenses, at the maximum zoom out, 210, the sharpness is not terrific. Now these are the 2 I've got. It's a bit soft. The f2.8 aperture, you've got some detail in the buildings here, but the bricks are slightly soft. And you can't see in focus Vine Way, which is the name of a road near where I live, because of the depth of field from here to there. It's a little bit of depth, so it's not quite sharp, because I focused on here. I tried to. This 3.5, I would say, at full aperture, is slightly sharper than the 2.8. So then we go down to f8, and we can't see a great deal of difference. Now the word Vine Way is gradually coming into sharpness there because of the depth of field. It's gradually coming in, but the brickwork here is much better defined at f8 than at maximum aperture. I really can't see much difference between the two. Then at f16, the word Vine Way now is coming quite sharp focus because I've stopped down and we've got more depth of field. But I still kept the focus on the rear houses there with the brickwork, so you can see the brickwork. And that's f16, that's the 2.8 one, yes, and that's the 3.5 VIVITAR Series 1. I can't really see a difference at all. Now, I look at them under a 6x magnifier, and I would agree that the 3.5 one is fractionally sharper at wider apertures than the 2.8. So, how about closer focusing? Well, to try the macro or close focusing, I set up this dolly because it's got some textures on it. And this is the 2.8 one, that's right. I used a Bowen's electronic flash studio light, and I had another little light on a sun pack coming from the rear against a blue background. And of course, you don't go and do macro at 2.8, you stop down the lens a bit. So I used between 11 and 16 as a good aperture to show the dolly, because it's got lots of textures here, and the lace work and the eyelashes. The eyelashes are sharp, and both of them, they're pin sharp. They're very, very sharp. This one is slightly shorter than this picture. And this is the MINOLTA one, where I set the 60th, but at the bottom, part of the negative was cut off because the shutter speed must have got faster than 1/60th, and it didn't synchronise with the flash properly. They're very, very, I can't see any difference between the two. They're both very sharp, and the detail of the lace work on them is excellent. So there's an actual picture I took with the MINOLTA one, the MINOLTA Zoom 3.5 lens at the Epping and Ongar Railway. This was a portrait I did. This was at full aperture, 3.5, as usual in dreadful light, because you Americans, you're so lucky. You've got wonderful light out there. Over here in England, we're lucky if we see the sun about 4 times a year. Rest of the time it's overcast like it is today, and grotty. It really needed a fill-in flash, but I didn't have a flash. This was taken on Jessop's pan 100 film developed in Rodinal, and that was, I wanted to get rid of that Jessop's pan, it was out of date. It's quite sharp. You can see the word London Transport there. That's at full aperture, 3.5. You can see some whiskers here, and the skin texture is quite good. But because it's 3.5, his jumper is out of focus, and his coat is out of focus. Only that plane there is in sharp focus. That's an actual shot I did before I messed around doing any tests. I actually used it. And I've also used the 2.8 one for some colour negative work. And oh, that's very sharp as well. So all in all, I've been very pleased with them. And as I say, the sharpness only falls off when you're set 210mm. If you come zoom out a bit closer, the sharpness at full aperture is extremely good. So there we are. There's two VIVITAR Series 1 lenses. A little quick trip around them. And I hope you've enjoyed it, because next time I'm going to show you two 500mm lenses. Wow! Keep watching.